We got MSMOCLRK posted with the post up. When you turn on your radio, we got MSMOCLRK posted with the post up. When you turn on your radio.
You know we poppin', just name a topic. Posted up like a palm tree in the tropic. Rozzy on the beat, make you wanna come and see. Mo to the C, radio to TV. You know she putting in work like she clocked in. Celebrity guest, never guess who gon' drop in. Television's best like a S on the chest. Who's next? Say less, cause you rockin' with the best.
MSMOCLRK posted with the post up. When you turn on your radio. Posted with the post up. We can turn on your radio. From the streets to the television, we keep it going, ain't no intermission. From the streets to the television, we keep it going, ain't no intermission.
So I am MSMOCLRK, host of the Post Up. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am super excited. I told my homegirl I was interviewing you. She done gave me the whole story. I didn't even need to read the bio at this point. Because she like, oh, I follow her. I know what she do. So she's super amped up and excited. So welcome and thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
So you are making a lot of waves and a lot of motion, as the young kids say nowadays. I don't know what that means, but I think you're making some movement, right? So let's talk a little bit about what you do. But first, before we talk about what you actually do, let's talk about what got you there, right? I read your bio. I've read the story of the whole single mom thing. It's something that a lot of us go through. So tell me a little bit how you actually made that transition from that to kind of what led you to start doing all the things you do today.
Well, first, I want to give all the honor and the glory to God, because that is how I made it. Like, that just sums everything up on how I made it. But life got me here, and my steps was ordered. I studied my Bible, I kept the faith, and I just did the work. The kids motivated me a lot. The kids motivated me tremendously. Started off rocky from a kid, you know, hustling, just doing my overall thing to survive. Mm-hmm. And when kids came along, survivor mode was like just, it was a must. Like, it's just something I had to do. I had to keep going no matter what it took. And going through life, it took a lot. And I stumbled, I fell, ended up incarcerated. It just, a lot happened. But I took all the negative, turned it into positive, and ended up here. A lot of people were like, okay, what that mean? Like, what exactly did you do? Sometimes, you know, I give the scoop play by play, but what worked for me might not work for everybody. So I don't just want them to take my story and run with it like, okay, that's the steps I'm gonna take and it's gonna happen. But what happened for me was, you know, I studied my word, I studied my Bible, I kept the faith, I let my kids motivate me, I let life teach me lessons, and everything that I went through, I took it and I learned from it and I installed it into the next, you know, thing that I did. So at one point I was selling drugs. If you read my book or my bio, you may know. And I had got me a little money, girl, so I went and got my body done. And when I did that, that was the start of Body by Brooke. Okay. Let's just say that Body by Brooke. And Body by Brooke took everything else into play and ended up here with the Hidden Vault. And now it's crazy because now I like to just be Brooke.
So let me ask you this. With you being incarcerated, so the first thing was, how long were you actually incarcerated?
2 months. 2 months. Okay. Might not seem long, lot of people, but to a single mother with 3 kids and they got scattered around, them 65 days was horrible. It was horrific. It was a lot, but it taught me a lot. It's something that I needed. And then it was 2 months with, it felt like I was being antagonized. Like I didn't have a release date. So it wasn't like, okay, go sit down for 2 months and you come home. It was me going to court like every week, paying lawyers, hiring lawyers, trying to get a bond. So it wasn't like, okay, I just knew that I was going to sit down for 2 months. I didn't know when I was coming home because I was being held with no bond. So that was the scary part for me. But I kept the faith, I kept praying, and I kept speaking over my life. Like the girls in jail was calling me crazy. They was like, you're not going home. It's the feds. When you go to the feds, you don't go home. And I was like literally the only person in there saying they're going home, and they thought it was a joke. They laughed at me the whole time. I kept saying, God is teaching me a lesson. I'm going through this for a reason, but I'm going home. And I always had a court date on a Thursday. And every Thursday I was like, y'all, I'm going home. I'm going home. Like 2 times I gave away all my stuff, like, because I was like, I'm going home, but always ended up coming back. So they started calling me Thursday. My name went from Brooke to Thursday. And the crazy thing was when I finally went home, I went to court on a Wednesday, and one of the guards was like, okay, she going home on a Wednesday. Nah, they was joking. And I was like, well, maybe God wanted me to go home on a Wednesday. So I went to court, and they decided that they was going to release me on house arrest. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm going home on a Wednesday, but it was late. So the judge sent me back to jail and told him release me the next day. And I got out on Thursday.
So I can only imagine.
The way things was happening when I was in court, like I kept speaking it over my life. I said, I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. I just kept speaking it, but I didn't know what I was gonna do. I just knew the way things was happening when I was in court. People was coming to jail asking me to pray for them. Like things just became different in them 65 days. It was just crazy. Like it was weird, but I was loving it. If that makes sense.
I can only imagine, things that might have been going through your mind. Like, even though it's 2 months, I get it. I ain't gonna tell you how I get it. I ain't gonna tell you how I get it. But I get it. You have a lot of time to sit there and think about your kids and think, what you could have done differently, or would you? Is there anything that you would have done differently, or do you feel like the incarceration helped you sit down and take that time that maybe you necessarily wouldn't have taken to think and to strategize to get it right? Do you think that played a part in it?
That played a major part. Like they have some old friends of mine, I believe, I know, that led me to, being incarcerated, and I hated them. And now I just thank them for that. Like if that wasn't a part of my journey or a part of my steps, I don't think I'll be here right now. When I was incarcerated, like my mind is all over the place. One day I'm crying, one day I'm happy, one day I'm playing spades with the girls, one day I'm, when I get pictures of my children, I'm just breaking down and crying like, why me? And then one day I'm just jolly. I just was all over the place. But when I was in there, I just was like, I was full of regret. And I was like, I would rather live under the bridge with my kids than to be incarcerated, like away from them. Like it taught me a lot. Like the money that I did make, selling drugs was not worth my freedom, not worth my kids going through what they was going through, because they was everywhere. All of them was in different places. They didn't have me. My son was writing me letters. They were so deep. Like the letters were so deep. Like, how do this child know how to write this? And why do he have to write this? Like, why did I put him in this place to have to write a letter to me in jail? So all that played a part, and I just feel if that wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't be who I am today. So that needed to happen.
Right.
And I'm grateful.
Okay, so you're out and you start doing all of these things, right? I like to refer to people like you and myself as a serial entrepreneur, right? Because we have all these ideas and all these gifts that God gifts to us, right? And I'm sure you may have gone through this as well, where people telling you just focus on one thing, just, don't put all your eggs in one basket, just do this. And I hate when people say that, because if God gives you these gifts or these ideas or these talents, who is somebody else to come and tell you what you should do with your gifts and your talents? So when you came out, how did you just sit down and like just really start strategizing it, or did you hit the ground running?
I didn't listen. Like I said, I'm gonna go back to it was just all a part of God's plan, because what I mentioned a few minutes ago was I was released on home incarceration. So I came home with an ankle monitor on. And it was embarrassing. Like I had ordered me some pants, and that's not even in style. Like with the wide legs, people wear it now, but in 2017, like we wasn't wearing the wide leg pants. So I was like, I'm hiding this. I'm not going around people with this on. Like this right here is gonna make me look like a criminal. It's gonna break me. I cannot be seen with this on. Mm-hmm. And I started running. I couldn't wear some of my shoes. I used to love Chuck Taylors. I couldn't wear some of my shoes. I couldn't wear, I just started looking tacky. So I decided to embrace it. And when I embraced it, it changed, it literally changed my life. Like I went from Body by Brooke, because I told you I got my body done. So I was already on Instagram showing my little body and posing, trying to be a model. But when I started modeling with that bracelet, oh my God, it just went crazy. Like it was a part of the plan. Like he sent me home. God, when I say he, with that monitor on for a reason. Like I didn't get the recognition until the crowd didn't go crazy until they seen a model with an ankle monitor on. Like, girl, what you did? The followers just started going up, and everybody was just gravitating to me and my bracelet. So I didn't have a plan. I spoke over my life, but I didn't have a plan. I just I'm gonna go model on Instagram, then I'm gonna start hosting clubs, and I'm gonna get my face out there, then I'm gonna be in music videos. I was thinking small. And that bracelet, I did host a few clubs. I was kind of out there, but I wasn't making the money. Like my presence was known, Body by Brooke was known, but I didn't have the money. I still was struggling. You wouldn't see it on Instagram, but the lights was getting cut off, the water was getting cut off. Mm-hmm. Me and my kids catching rides, but on Instagram they didn't know that. I used to have some of my followers would send me cash apps just to get by, just to pay my rent or just to pay my light bill. Somebody used to be like, send me a picture of your toes, and I'm gonna send you $50. It was going crazy, but I was broke, but it didn't look like it on Instagram. So I didn't have a plan. I just came out, and it all worked for itself. I think it came with me having to embrace what was going on, reality.
I get that. I love that you said that, because, so many people go through that. I went through that, where I was promoting the club, and I was literally, like you just said, sitting over there with no water. It wasn't even about hot water. I didn't have water, and I was getting jugs of water using food stamps from the store. I remember just putting the buckets of water in the sink to shave just so I could get cute to go to the club when nobody knew. And you're right. Nobody knows Instagram.
Right, because who wants to, really and truly, I speak on it now because I overcame and it became my testimony. But then, who wants to get on Instagram and say, I don't have no water? I don't I actually want the Lowe's, the little tool, it's shaped like a T. Yeah. And I took the little money that I bought it, and every time they can't turn the water on, me and my son went out there and turned it back on.
But I think it's great, that you can share your story, because I honestly feel like a lot of things on social media, they're glamorized, right? So when you get a chance and you go out and you speak to the young girls, do you let them know, hey, this is not what you want to do? Or what is your approach to something like that? Because, now these new kids coming up, they think getting peed on is popular now. That just got made popular a couple of days ago by Young Miami. But, you have a high following. You're so influential. how do you kind of change the narrative for them?
My narrative, if anybody follow me or just know me or just hold a conversation with me, they know it's always God first. So my narrative to anyone is just, if you put God first, like that's the first step, like before anything else. God will grant you the mindset. He will grant you everything you need to succeed. My prayer was, God, just put me in a position. Put me in a position to take off, and I promise I will tell the world about you. So that's how I start off any conversation. Like when they asked me, when I first started, they was like, how did you get into this? Then when I say God, they be like, sex and God, sex, laugh. And I'm like, y'all just don't understand. But, you know, I have to tell my testimony. So for me, I tell my struggle, everything I've been through, the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm very transparent. Some people say I put out too much for Instagram, but that's me. That's my life. I made God a promise that if he put me in a position to take off, I'm going to tell the world about him. He gave me a testimony and I have to tell it. So for me, I just let the girls know that God usually bring you into the storm to get you through the storm. So when you feeling like, oh, my water off, my lights off, I'm a single parent, or whatever that has you down, just look at it as that's a part of your journey, that's a part of your steps. That is what you need to strengthen you for whatever God has for you. Because the old me, I can say, she wouldn't be able to handle millions. Like I would have not been able to handle millions. So God created this mindset before he allowed me to see, you know, the wealth. So, and it took the struggle. So I don't know why a lot of people like to hide it. Some people like to embrace it, and that's good for the girls. Yeah. But I think it's just go to God first, keep God first, and everything else would and a lot of people don't understand it, but God, if you put God first, he will create the wisdom, the courage, the understanding, the mindset. Every tool you need to succeed, you got to get it through God. So
let me say, they coming to our location, one of our stores. They'll call. I just want to talk to Brooke. I'm going through this. I read her book, her story, and I just need some advice from her. We get that a whole lot, and she's always there answering questions, taking phone calls. It's crazy to see how many people that she's touched.
But you know, some people get discouraged when I be like God, because they don't understand. Some people don't understand. Some people don't understand. They're like, okay, I've been praying, but are you being patient? Do you have the faith? Like, are you speaking over yourself? Like when I said I was in jail with no bond in the feds, no release date, and all I kept saying was, I'm going home. I'm going home. I believed it though. I knew it. And everybody else just thought it was a joke. Everybody was laughing at me. And God showed them, like, because God liked to show people, you know, who he is. He liked to show and prove. So through me, even though they was laughing at me, God was like, I'm going to show them. I'm going to show. And he used me as his vessel. And he released me, something that they thought was impossible. So when I tell people about, you know, God, they be like, Brooke, I don't want to hear that. Like, what it really took. But that's what it took. God granted me. Now, reality. I got my taxes. I got like $6,000, and instead of going to get a car, instead of buying a sofa, you know, the typical things that we do with our income tax, I took it all and put it out. It was a start. I started off really, really small. Like I started off with 100 boxes. That's all I was able to afford. Between those $6,000, the 100 boxes, the website, the bags to ship it off, the computer. I even had like this little folding table from Walmart, you know, little folding tables. I made that out of my desk. I was in my garage. Like I took that, and that's where I started at. But God created the mindset in me to even get, once I got those 5,000 up, the typical person wouldn't think of, let me use these five. This is all I have. But when you have that faith, you know, this even if I gotta take and sell this stuff for however much I bought it for and get my 5,000 back, I'm gonna make it. So you just, the risk, can't be scared. Like you can't be scared. You gotta put God first. You gotta go through the motions. You gotta believe in yourself. And you gotta create a team. Because when I met this guy, things really just went crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
He used to be in the.
How do you you know, because when you're talking about being an entrepreneur and starting out, how do you maintain not getting discouraged, right? Because, you know, I'm laughing about this table because I have that in my store for my boutique. So I have that table as well. Mine is black. But, you know,
Mine was
you know,
from Walmart.
Sometimes you look, right, and you don't get a sale every day. You don't even get a sale every month. And you know, we can come across, man, I'm just gonna stop because I'm putting out more money than I'm actually getting and I'm earning. I'm not even flipping a profit. So what are things that you can tell somebody to not give up, to not get discouraged?
I can say never give up.
It's simple. It's simple.
Yeah.
It's very simple to say that. But I'm gonna be honest. I gotta be totally honest. Because saying that, just don't give up. That's easy to tell somebody.
Okay.
That's very easy.
It is.
So I started off selling lashes, right?
Okay.
When I created myself, Body by Brooke, I was like, okay, I have the following. I think I had like 100,000 followers. And that's my old page. Well, I still have the page, but I lost it so many times that I created a new one, and the one I have now have 100,000 followers. But at the time, I think it was like 2017, 18, I had like 100,000 followers, and I'm like, okay, I done did the drugs, selling the drugs. I can't do that no more because I'm not leaving my kids no more. I got to do something else. So why not capitalize off my followers, which I wasn't thinking, but I'm like, I got to sell something. I started selling lashes, and it was times that one day I wouldn't have a sale. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll go weeks without having a sale, and I was getting discouraged. And I'm like, shit, this ain't working for me. It got to the point for me where, like, I would say never give up, but I was giving up because it wasn't working for me. But instead of stopping, I gave up on keep it cute, not myself. I gave up on the business because it wasn't working for me. And no matter how much you can tell a person don't give up, why keep beating a dead horse? It's not for you. I was selling lashes, and my fan base was all men. They didn't want lashes. So I just had to go back and rethink everything, reevaluate myself, the business, like, what am I doing wrong?
Yep.
And what I was doing wrong was I was selling to men.
Yep.
So I gave up on keep it cute. And when I gave up, I started thinking, like, I started researching. I started even asking my followers, like, yo, I want to sell something. What y'all need? And they used to come like, this and that. Like, they used to leave so many comments, and I started praying on it. And like, it took a few years, but it came to me. But after the lashes, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sell hair. Still was crazy. Because, okay, you couldn't sell the lashes would make you think you're gonna sell hair. That didn't work. So I took Keep It Cute and changed it into sex toys. So, all right, I got me something that actually represents who I am. Because I just looked at myself as a sex sport. Okay, I'm like, okay, I'm a sex symbol. I'm a sex sport. Let me just go ahead and capitalize off of what I represent. Right. But then I was selling female sex toys. So that wasn't working either. Like, and I finally got the, like, women don't like me because I'm showing my body every day on Instagram. Your following is men. Cater to men. And the great part about that, because back then in 2017, everybody who had a boutique or business or anything on Instagram, online, it was all for women. The men had nothing. So me, I started catering to the men. So I gave up on what didn't work for me. So I don't necessarily want to tell people don't give up, because if it don't work for you, stop trying. Try something else. And that's what I did. I changed the whole narrative. I changed the name of the business because it was biased. It was for women. Women didn't support me. And once I changed everything, like I changed everything, that worked for me. So when I started the Hidden Vault, it was easy not to give up, because I honestly could say, when it's for you, I don't know. I don't even want to say this because some people be like, nah. But when it's for you, ain't no bad days. I can honestly say, since I started the Hidden Vault, I could not. Don't get me wrong with that. A bad day for me wouldn't be a bad day for the average person.
Right.
So when I say, oh, today was a bad day, it's probably made $10,000 today. I probably made 6, and that's probably a bad day for me. But for the average person, like, girl, that is a beautiful day. So when I started hitting vote, May 10, 2019, it just kept growing and growing and growing. I never had a day where, damn, what's going on? I didn't have a sale today. I never experienced that. And that's how I knew the hidden vote was for me, how I know it was working. Because being a business owner isn't for everybody. So sometimes you have to, I don't never want to give any woman, a girl, boy, king, queen advice to stay in a business that's not for them, because it could actually break you mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, in just all kind of ways. So if you know something isn't working for you, it's okay to give up. It's okay to give it up, because some people are meant to. My sister, for instance, she's seen, they see what we do, and she was front and center of what I do, and she just figured, okay, I'm gonna start a boutique and I'm gonna make these millions just like you. She started it. It was an epic fail. She wasn't the type of girl that liked to get up every day and do makeup and hair and take pictures and dress. It wasn't working. So she gave up on it. It would have been easy for me to say, girl, don't give up, keep going. But she found out what her true calling was, and it was a service, not e-commerce. It was a service. She do credit now, and it's working wonders for her. So it was great she gave up on that business. And I'm just trying to say, like, if it don't work for you, you got to give up on that. Give up on that. Just don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on God, because it's something you can do. You probably could be running somebody else's business, making 6-7 figures a year. You can have your own business. It's not meant for everybody to be a business owner, but it is meant for everybody to have wealth. So whether you get it through somebody's company, running somebody's company, running your own business or whatever, just keep trying until you figure out what's your niche, what God created you to do and to have and to run. But I wouldn't tell nobody don't give up on a business that's not working for them.
Right.
Especially if you keep constantly putting money and time into it, and it's taken away from you and your family and your mental. Like, that's not working. Try something else. That's what I did. I kept trying until I get. Now, I didn't give up on myself. I kept trying until I found what works for me.
Right.
But if I kept trying to say lashes, I wouldn't be here. So it's just the way you put things. Some girls, they don't get it. You tell them don't give up, they're gonna keep trying a business that's not for them. And some people start businesses because the other person winning.
Right.
I never seen so many sex companies until now. Like, it's so crazy. But it's enough room for everybody. But just because you see I'm making it doesn't mean that's your calling. Try it. If it don't work, try something else. But some people, they'll sell hair because this person made hair. Like, it's just, I don't know. If you keep God first, he'll steer you in the right direction. And if it's not for you, don't break your back trying to make it. So I hope that it made sense for a lot of people, because if it ain't for you, it ain't for you. Just don't give up on trying to make that money. Don't give up on success. Don't give up on that part. But if selling hair isn't for you, give it up. Am I saying something?
So you got the hidden.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? It's
Yes.
going now. Okay. So you got the hidden vault. You have the book, you have all of these things going on for you. So why don't you tell everybody where they can find more about your product and your book? Where can they find Brooke and all of Brooke's gems at this point? Because you've been dropping gems, honey.
I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook as Brooke Jones. I'm on Instagram as Body by Brooke. I have 2 pages. I have one just Body by Brooke straight out. They have 405,000 followers. I have body _by _Brooke_. So you can find me there. I'm always dropping gems. A lot of people when you gonna give a seminar, when you gonna give a class? I'm throwing free gems on Instagram. Like, whatever you need. Like, I'm very cool, friendly, whatever. I know what it takes, and where I come from. So I try not to ignore people and let them know, exactly what's going on. My product line, the Hidden Vault, of course. I have 2 pages for that too. One is the_Hidden Vault, and the other one is just the Hidden Vault. Spell it out. We on thehiddenvault.com. That's where all the products at. E-commerce. We have a New Orleans location where you can just walk in and purchase anything that you've seen on the site or anything you heard about. What else?
We also have a Slidell location. It's here in Louisiana as well. So if you're on Instagram and you're looking for our business page, just make sure you type the Hidden Vault all the way out.
Yeah, because
we're kind of shadow banned because of the type of business we have. But if you type the Hidden Vault all the way out, you'll locate us. We have some amazing products.
And everything is organic. Everything is no side effects, all natural. And that's what separated me from a lot of people, a lot of businesses, a lot of things. And I try to also tell girls who trying to get into business, find out what separates you from the crowd, what makes you different. And I think that was a part of my winning because I was different. If you're looking for a sex toy, you usually got to go in a sex store, or if you're looking for any type of enhancement, you got to go in one of them sex stores. I came out with something totally different. I was in my own lane, doing my own thing, and I rarely had competition. Now there's competition, but when I started out, there was none. So I tell set apart. Whatever you do, even if it's something, a hair product, what makes you different from that other shampoo that I just bought? What made you different from them? So just set apart. Just stand out. Stand out. So that what made me different. The fact that I always was around men and they always take these enhancement products and things like that, and the next day they're complaining because their head hurt and stuff like that. And I'm like, what could I do to enhance somebody's sex life? And they wake up feeling rejuvenated and just good and just no side effects. What could I do? So I did it. I done it, and everybody love it. They brag about it, and I think my highlight of my business is the fact that it's all natural products, health and wellness. And I started off saying an adult store, and now it just turned into something totally different because it became a need. We help people with erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation, vaginal dryness, and it's all healthy. It's a need, it's healthy, and it's natural. So that's what set me apart. And
what the great thing is that I can appreciate about everything that she does. When we travel, we just recently came from Jamaica, and people was all in Jamaica saying, "Oh, the Hidden Vault, Body by Brooke." So that amazes me to this day to see things like that.
I know that happened in the Bahamas too, and yes. I was super excited. I'm like, wait, you know me? Sometimes I don't give myself enough credit, and I try to remain humble. And one of my friends told me, when you remain humble, you stoop into the next person level, like you're trying to keep them. And I was like, well, I look at it a little different, but that is what it means.
That is what it is. That's what yeah.
No matter how you look at it, that's what it is. You're lowering your standard to meet someone else's needs. And I don't know, I guess, but it works. It works because when you get big-headed, you get in the industry, you get big-headed, and you just forget where you come from. A lot of people don't gravitate to that. So I can't be that girl. But yeah.
I love it. I am so excited that I got a chance to speak with you, that you told your story. I love that. I mean, I think anybody that has a ball exfoliator should be known around the world at this point, because what is that?
Oh, so fresh. They don't understand it.
But it works though.
I think that definitely deserves to be known worldwide at this point. So thank you so much for you guys taking the time and interviewing with me. I hope whenever you come to Atlanta, we can definitely link up and do this in person. And I can show you guys more than just my lovely arrangement of shoes behind me. So thank you so much, Brooke. You have been a pleasure.
I truly appreciate it. I do from the bottom of my heart. This was a lot for me, and I truly appreciate you for having me and Grant. And he gonna make that happen when we come to Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
And y'all don't forget my book is called From Bars to Boss. I basically went from the worst hell to heaven, jail to now. It drops jewels. It have a lot of business tips, and it tells you about my whole life and how I got here from a child to adult. So that's on my website also, which is thehiddenboss.com. Yeah, and I'm just grateful that you took the time out to interview me. Thank you so much.
Website now, I gotta go show my husband all this neat stuff I just found.
Make sure you send us your mailing address. I'll send you a care package.
Yes.
Okay.
We love to
guys.
Yeah. Set up something good. We're gonna get you the his and hers box.
Yes.
Ooh. Don't say it loud. He's probably walking past the door right now. So.
And we got this couple box that's coming out for Valentine's Day. Everything is his and hers. We also dropping like some cards, some playing cards, and they have like 50 positions, different positions. Position 5 that you can try for Valentine's Day. We also have the rolling dice that tells you to get in certain positions. We have chocolate Niagara Falls.
Yes.
We're coming out with the chocolate flavor Niagara Falls. And the reason for that is everything is covered in chocolate for Valentine's Day. So it's an edible lube that your man devour you off. You know, you put the chocolate on your goodies and you eat it off. So it's like chocolate covered vaginas. That's what we're going to have for Valentine's Day. And we have the his and hers honey. Mm-hmm. Girl, the honey. Ooh. The honey something serious.
I'm sending you that.
The honey something serious for the women and the men.
Shadow. Just let me know. I see a shadow standing right here behind me because he probably listening. He like, who?
He listening. I know.
We have the his and hers drops that's included in that bundle. So we're gonna get that out to you, and y'all gonna have a beautiful Valentine's Day. Like if you don't have the Valentine's Day box, you ain't having Valentine's. It's just you gotta incorporate the
pictures and everything. I'm excited.
So listen at this, and we stand true by this. We save in relationships one drop at a time.
Yep. I
like that.
Let me say this before we go, because you said that, and I had like a very emotional review. Mm-hmm. I think it was like 2 years ago. That's like my overall favorite, best review. It had me in tears. Like a guy, you remember? You could go on Google and read it. There's so many reviews, so you probably got to go back first. But he was contemplating suicide. He wanted to commit suicide because of his sex life. And once he started using the Hidden Ball products, I don't know who this guy is, but it's on our Google review. And he said, we saved his life. And that was big for me. And that's when the Hidden Ball became more than just an adult store. It became health and wellness. That's when I changed the whole narrative, that review. He was contemplating suicide. And when I posted it, everybody was laughing and don't think these things are real. Like, this is serious. This is health and wellness. People, you know, they get depressed over things like this. So being able to help is like it just takes me here. Like, I'm just excited about that. So yeah, saving relationships one drop at a time became saving lives. And I'm just loving it. So if you suffering with premature ejaculation, you can't get an erection, just anything, the Hidden Ball can help you in a natural way. The natural way. It's made for the heart problems. Like it's all natural. Herbs, baby. That's saving your sex life.
I love it. Well, thank you guys. I gotta go tell my husband we in the box.
Y'all get in the box. Box.
All right, guys. I will catch you guys on the gram. Talk to you later.
Thanks for having us. Have a great one.
Bye.